We are in week 20 this week, and I am going to read some really awesome books for us. The first one is Duck and Goose. This story is a fantasy story, and last week we learned about fantasy and what that big word means. Does anybody remember what fantasy is? Fantasy is a made-up story, and it has things in it that could never really happen in real life. So while we're reading this book today, I want you to look for things that could never really happen in real life. Before we read it, I have some vocabulary words I want to go over with you. The first one is apologized. Okay, that means that you said that you were sorry. The next one is attention, and that's to give notice to or show interest in something. Okay. Confusion is the state of being mixed up. I'm confused. Okay. Notice, it means you see or hear something. Snooze means to nap or sleep. And webbed, joined or connected by skin. So a duck has webbed feet. Okay, so he has feet that his toes are joined or connected by skin. So those are our vocabulary words. You can listen as we read Duck and Goose, and those vocabulary words will be in there for you. Duck and Goose. Written and illustrated by Tad Hills. "Oh my, what is that?" Duck quacked. "That's a silly question," Goose honked. "It is a big egg, of course." "Of course it is an egg. I know that," huffed Duck. "What I mean is, where did it come from?" Goose looked skyward. He looked into the river. He looked to the fields. He thought very hard. "Who are you?" he asked finally. "I," said the duck, puffing out his feathered chest, "am the one whose egg this is. I saw it first." Goose quickly raised one webbed foot. "It's mine. I touched it first." Uh-oh, what do you think is going to happen? Whose egg is it? "Hey, you should never put your dirty foot on an egg," Duck scolded. "Don't you know anything about caring for eggs?" "Yes, I do," Goose cried out. "Stop yelling," Duck yelled, then whispered forcefully, "Don't you know that you and your screaming are very likely disturbing the baby bird who is trying to take a snooze inside this egg?" Goose wished that Duck wasn't right. He lowered his head and whispered softly, "I'm very sorry. Go back to sleep in there." "My, that's quite a beauty you have," called a bluebird from across the river. "Thank you. It's mine," quacked Duck. "Actually, it's mine," honked Goose. "Thank you." Whose egg is it? "So," asked the duck, "what do we do now?" "We should do something," suggested Goose. "Yes, you are right. Good thinking," agreed Duck. "Like what?" What did they do? It says, "This egg is private property. Duck's egg. No geese allowed. No honking. $5 fine." Duck and Goose each thought. What did Goose think? "If you are a duck, keep walking. No ducks beyond this point. Quiet, please. Absolutely no quacking in this area." Were they thinking to share the egg? "Well, we must keep the egg warm until the fuzzy little occupant is ready to come out," said Goose. "Excellent idea," exclaimed Duck. He pushed past Goose. "Step aside, and I shall do just that." But Goose was quick too. After a flurry of fussing, grunting and groaning, slipping and sliding, honking and quacking, what do you think happened? Duck and Goose found themselves back to back. Scoot over! I don't have any room, complained Duck. You are much closer to me than I am to you. Stop yelling in my ear, Goose. Shh! Goose hushed, pointing at the round thing beneath them. Yes, 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 we must remember. Quiet, quiet, quiet. We mustn't disturb the little one. And so they sat very still and very quiet, waiting for a long time. For a long time, they waited. Do they look very happy to be together? How do they look? They listened to the crickets chirp and the frogs burp. I'm going to teach this baby bird to quack like a duck, Duck boasted. Well, I'm going to teach it to honk like a goose. Goose honked back. I'm going to teach this baby bird to waddle, Goose added. So am I, Duck said. They heard the pitter-patter of rain. I'm going to teach this baby bird to swim, Duck said. Me too, said Goose. To pass the time, they sniffed wildflowers in the warm sun and shared breadcrumbs while Goose taught Duck to honk. They watched the sun set in the sky, and Duck taught Goose to quack. Now let's just stop for a minute and make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen between the duck and Goose, who can't seem to get along? Does anybody have a prediction? A prediction means a guess about what is going to happen next. They counted the stars in the night sky. Let's teach our baby to fly, said Goose. Good idea, said Duck. I'm sure our baby will be a fast learner, said Duck. If it takes after you and me, I'm sure you're right, agreed Goose. What is happening? Together they waited until... Did you feel that, Duck? Duck nodded. Yes. Did you feel that, Goose? Goose nodded. It's time, Goose. It's time. Duck squawked. What is it time for? Quickly, Duck slid down and started running in circles around their eggs. What should we do now? He hollered. I think we should remain calm, Goose yelled back. Excuse me, a little voice called out. Oh no, what do you think it's going to be? Or who do you think it's going to be? Duck stopped. In all of the exciting confusion, he had failed to notice the blue bird kicking their egg. Can I play too? She asked. Play? This is no time for play, yelled Duck. This is no time for games, yelled Goose. And what's with the kicking? I was only trying to get your attention, said the little bird. Well, you got it, Duck huffed. False alarm, Goose. Back to work. 'Cause can't you see that we are very busy here? Goose explained to the blue bird. This is serious business. This is perhaps the most important moment of our lives. Oh my, I am sorry, apologized the blue bird. I had no idea. I just thought that maybe I could play with your ball. It really is a nice one, she added, and then she flew away. What is that round thing? Is it a ball or is it an egg? Goose gulped. Ooh. Did she say ball? He whispered to Duck. You know, I did have my doubts, Duck finally said. It is a bit squishier than most eggs I've seen. Yes, and I must say, I was somewhat suspicious of those big dots, Goose admitted. It may not be an egg, but it is lovely, said Duck. Oh, absolutely, Duck. Goose agreed. It's a keeper. As the crickets chirped, the frogs burped, and the grass swayed in a gentle breeze, Goose quacked and Duck honked, and the ball bounced, rolled, and sometimes even flew.